Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into a hidden, almost alien-like network that is literally thriving right beneath our feet. We're exploring Kingdom Fungi. It's this fascinating realm of organisms that's entirely distinct from plants and animals, yet, as you'll see, it's absolutely vital to the survival of both. Before we really get into it, let me ask you something. What acts like a plant, eats like an animal, and forms the largest continuous networks on Earth? Well, the answer completely shatters the old misconception that fungi are just weird plants. They aren't. They've got their own unique biology, their own microscopic highways, and some seriously bizarre ways of surviving. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to meet the hidden kingdom, zoom in on their anatomy, check out their specialized survival structures, look at how they're classified, uncover the art of reproduction, and finally, see exactly how they shape our world. All right, Section 1, Meet the Hidden Kingdom, Fungi versus the rest.
So fungi are incredibly unique. First off, they lack chlorophyll entirely. That means absolutely no photosynthesis for them. Instead, they're what we call chemoheterotrophic. Basically, they eat by absorbing pre-existing organic matter. And their structure? Get this. While plants use cellulose, fungi build their rigid cell walls out of chitin. Yeah, that is the exact same tough material you find in the exoskeletons of beetles and crabs. How crazy is that? Moving on to Section 2, the anatomy of fungi, the threads of life. Now, if we zoom way in, the fundamental building block for most of these guys is the hypha. It's a tiny, transparent tube, only about 5 to 10 micrometers across. Inside, you've got protoplasm and nuclei. But notice those tiny cross walls dividing the tube? Those are called septa. They section the hyphae into compartments. But they have these tiny little pores that let cytoplasm just flow freely back and forth between cells. It's basically an incredibly efficient microscopic plumbing system. But here's the thing. A single hypha doesn't just work alone. When all these individual hyphae branch out and weave together, they form a massive, intricate network known as the mycelium. You can kind of think of it like a sprawling underground internet. This whole mesh is the actual vegetative body of the fungus, the thallus. And it's just constantly spreading out and absorbing nutrients from its surroundings.
Okay, on to Section 3, Specialized Survival Structures, Biological Superpowers.
Fungi are the ultimate survivalists, for sure. Some use delicate rhizoids, these short, root-like outgrowths that act as anchors to lock the fungus in place while it feeds. But others, well, they take a much more sinister approach. They use an aprosorium to press hard against a host plant. And then they literally punch a tiny infection peg directly through the plant's cell wall. This creates a hostorium, which is basically a biological vampire that sits right inside the host cell, just drinking up its nutrients from the inside out.
And we definitely can't forget about rhizomorphs. Sometimes, those hyphae we talked about aggregate into thick, root-like cords that grow remarkably fast. They act as high-speed underground nutrient highways. This adaptation is so incredibly successful that a single network of honey fungus in Oregon has used rhizomorphs to spread across nearly 4 square miles. Yeah, you heard that right, making it literally the largest living organism on Earth.
Which brings us to Section 4, Families and Classifications, Organizing the Chaos. So, with all these wild structures, scientists needed a way to make sense of the chaos. They divide fungi into 4 main classes, mostly based on how they form their spores. You've got zygomycetes, like your everyday bread mold. Then ascomycetes, or sac fungi, which includes yeast. After that, we have basidiomycetes. Those are your classic, perfect mushrooms. And finally, deuteromycetes. We actually call these the imperfect fungi, because they don't follow a regular sexual reproduction cycle at all. They just rely entirely on asexual clones. Let's jump to Section 5, the art of reproduction, the next generation.
While fungi definitely can reproduce sexually, they are absolute masters of asexual cloning. That's what makes them such prolific colonizers. Through fragmentation, just a single broken piece of mycelium can grow into a whole new network. With fission, a cell simply splits right in two. Budding lets small outgrowths pinch off from a parent cell. And spore formation, that lets them cast literally millions of biological seeds right into the wind.
If you look at the budding process in yeast, you can literally see this new life forming. A small bud grows directly out of the mother cell. Inside, the parent's nucleus divides, and one daughter nucleus migrates right into that tiny outgrowth. Once it's fully developed, boom, it pinches off to become an entirely independent organism. It's just a crazy efficient way to rapidly multiply. But when it really comes to conquering vast distances, fungi rely on spores. Think of spores as the microscopic, highly resilient escape pods of the fungal world. Some of them, called zoospores, actually have little whip-like flagella and swim through water. Others are dry and just catch a ride on the wind or rain. These spores are so tough and so light that they've literally been found floating high up in the Earth's upper atmosphere. That's how fungal colonies easily cross entire oceans and continents.
All right, our final section, number 6, fungi shaping our world, the fungal impact.
So the impact of fungi on our biosphere is just staggering. They're Earth's ultimate recyclers, breaking down dead matter so life can start all over again. They provide us with food, like the yeast that gives us bread and beer, and even life-saving medicines. I mean, the antibiotic penicillin was derived directly from a common fungus. But on the flip side, they also cause massive economic losses by rotting our food and acting as destructive crop parasites. They really are the great regulators of our environment.
But perhaps their greatest trick of all is this symbiotic alliance known as mycorrhizae. In this setup, the fungal mycelium wraps around and actually penetrates the roots of higher plants. The fungi act as this enormous, highly efficient extension of the plant's root system, scavenging tough-to-reach nutrients like phosphorus. In exchange, the plant feeds the fungus sugary carbohydrates. Honestly, every forest you've ever walked through relies entirely on this invisible underground alliance to even survive.
From their chitin-armored walls and vampiric hostoria, all the way to those massive underground internets beneath our feet, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. Without the recycling power and the hidden networks of the fungal kingdom, would life on Earth as we know it even exist? I mean, really ponder that the next time you step outside and realize you are walking right on top of a hidden alien world. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.